Hello, hello, hello. And so the title of this is When the Spirit Speaks. Okay, what do you mean, Cecilia? Well, a lot of times we hear the voice and we're just trying to figure it out. Well, I just want to share. This is part one. So it'll be several more times that I will share different times and moments when the Spirit has spoke to me. And even though I kind of was doubting it, a little confused, and like, what? Well, let me tell you. So, um, my father passed in 1996. So, really, prior to him passing, he passed in September, I had already felt that I was being led to have this conference. Now, I had already kind of started this organization called Ladies Living for the Lord. So I was like, okay, I was being led to have this conference. I was cool with that. Okay. Then my father passed away. So I'm really like thrown off kilter because it was like um, 2 days before my 30th birthday. So I'm like, wow, okay, what is this? And that's another story because I kind of saw even that. And I've kind of known that, you know, I have this kind of gift, or I don't know, a gift, a curse, I don't know what you want to call it. But, sometimes things are shown to me through dreams. And sometimes I have interpreted people's dreams. But okay, let me just get back to my point when Spirit speaks. So, okay, I'm like, okay, I can do the conference. But I gotta mourn a little because that really threw me off. I was almost in my room for 3 days, but then I had to get it together because I had to help my mother make arrangements. So after we got, through that, and of course, even though it was several years ago, over 20 years ago, you still, miss your dad. But I said, okay, I'm going to go forward with the conference. So I'm like, okay, what's the name of the conference? The name of it is Becoming a Woman of Virtue. Okay. So I'm like, okay, we got that straight. Okay. So, Spirit, you telling me that. So, where is it going to be? Oh, how about Williamsburg, Virginia? Williamsburg, Virginia. Okay, I really don't know anyone down in Williamsburg, Virginia. I don't know any churches. Um, that's just like going into a foreign land. I guess I'm going to be Abraham now and just go. So I was like, okay, let me contact the people at this hotel in Williamsburg. And they were like, oh, yeah, we have time. We have that availability for the time that you are asking. This is what you need to do. We would like for you to come down and visit. Well, sir, ma'am, I really can't come but on a weekend. And so I'm like, okay, we can put all this together. So she was like, look, we can accommodate you if you want to come on a Saturday. And of course, you know, it'll be complimentary overnight stay. So I was like, okay. So I was going to come down there on a Saturday and check out on a Monday. And the Saturday, they had arranged for someone to meet with me so we can go over the contract and do all of that. So I go down there that Saturday. I meet with the lady. She takes me around. We look at the conference rooms and all of that. And I'm like, okay, this, I'm sure this is going to work, because this is where I've been led to come. So then I asked her, I mean, do you know of any churches around? And she said, well, I'm not really that familiar with any churches. She said, but I'm sure, you could probably just kind of, drive around because there's several, down here. So I'm like, okay, mm, kind of like, thank you for nothing. Okay. But, like I said, we settled the contract and everything like that. So I'm like, okay, let me just drive around. So I go to this gas station because I need some gas. Go into the gas station, pay for the gas, and I'm drawn to this water, the section of the water, because I'm thirsty. So I'm drawn to where all the water is. And one of the water bottles said artesian wellspring. So I go buy me some artesian wellspring. I go sit in the car. This is Saturday. And I'm like, I don't know, no churches down here. And I need some type of church support. I mean, I did tell my pastor that what I was going to do, and he just prayed for me and wished me well, That was interesting too. And he was like, I'm sure it'll be a success. Okay, but still no one to kind of like help me along. Okay, that's fine too. Because um, something that I have posted in Facebook, your calling, you know your calling, and it wasn't a conference call. So you just have to move in what you know. So I just had this knowing, okay, this is what's supposed to be going on. So now I'm sitting in the car with this bottle of water, artesian wellspring. And so, just as clear as I'm talking to you, the name of the church is going to be Wellspring that's going to help you. Okay. Wellspring. So now I'm like, okay, now I'm crazy, y'all. Because I just know I did not. A name on a water bottle is the church that's going to help me down here. Okay. I didn't go in the white pages, yellow pages, orange pages. No, this water bottle. So I said, okay, that's interesting. Okay, well noted. So then I was told, and it's going to be a Caucasian woman who is the pastor. So now I'm really like, okay, now I'm looking around because, okay, okay, all right. I'm down here in Williamsburg. Everything worked out with the hotel, but okay, now this is going a little bit too far now. The bottle of water, the Wellspring is the name of the church, and okay, I'm kind of looking for support, like one of the choirs I'm used to, but you're saying the woman that's going to assist me and help me is a Caucasian pastor. Okay. All right. What can I say? Well, it's Saturday. So, I said, well, services are on Sunday, so I guess I'll just find out tomorrow. So I go back to the hotel. And the thing about it is I never tried to find a directory. I never went to the yellow pages or the white pages. So I just was like, okay, obviously I just need to be led by this water bottle called Artesian Wellspring. Wellspring is the name of the church. And truly, this was a faith walk. This was me truly being led by the Spirit, not I'm doubting, but yet I'm still moving forward because I just had no idea how this all was going to turn out. So the next day, it's a Sunday, I get up. I said, okay, I guess we got to go find this church. I don't know where to go. I just got in the car with my bottle and I said, okay, now lead me where I'm supposed to go. So I'm driving. Then I see this church on the corner. So I just make this left turn off this highway. Well, it wasn't really a highway. I don't know. I think it was 60 West. I don't know. But anyway, I make this left turn. I see all these cars, I'm like, okay, they having church service. Let me roll up in here. But the name of the church wasn't Wellspring. It wasn't Wellspring in the name of the church. So I still go in. The usher is standing, at the door. I think they were praying, how, but she wasn't on the inside of the door. She was on the outside of the door. So not like outside, but I'm talking about, once you go in the vestibule, she was standing right there. So I look at her, she looked at me, and she was like, oh, praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. So then I said, okay, now I need to ask this question, and I hope she don't think I'm crazy. So I said, excuse me, can you tell me if there is a church with the name Wellspring in it around here? And she said, oh, yeah, yes. She said, you're on the right road. You just need to continue down this road and you'll see it on your right-hand side. So now I'm just like, okay, that came true. And then she said, well, you do know that that's a white woman pastor. And so I looked at her and was like, yeah, I kind of know. So I'm like, okay. So now I'm like, this is interesting. Okay. Like I said, I've had dreams, I've heard dreams, but this was a little bit more because, I can't even describe it. But I'm slowly walking out of church because I'm going to go down to Wellspring Church. The name was on the water bottle. The lady confirmed that it was a white female pastor, and I knew all of this, So I get back in my car and I head on down that road, and I'm like, okay, she said it's going to be on the right hand side. Just keep driving. Sure enough, I look over to my right hand side, and it was like maybe 5 minutes down the street. I drive up in there. I don't see as many cars. So I'm like, okay, well, it looks like I see this lady, because it was like up in the woods. It was a wooden structure. And it had, floor to ceiling windows. So I go in, and they was like, oh, the pastor just left. She just left. Our services are over. I said, well, do you mind if I leave her a note? Now I'm getting real bold in this thing because I'm like, okay, this lady's going to think I'm a crackpot. She's going to think I'm crazy, but I'm going to be honest of how I came upon her. And so I sure enough wrote in the note, hi, my name is Cecilia Hill. I'm going to be having a women's conference down here. And I truly was led by the Spirit to you. And I was told that you would be the one to assist me in getting church support down here. So I hope you don't think that I'm a crazy person, but this is how I came upon you. And I left that note. The lady said, oh, I'll be certain to give it to her. So I was like, okay. And I left the name of the hotel and the hotel number and my room number. So I'm like, okay. They said they wasn't having another service. So I didn't even know if she, coming to the office at the church, during the week. But I knew that I was going to be checking out around noon. So now I'm like, okay, if this lady calls me, first of all, she may send the police to me thinking I'm a crazy, send the police to the hotel because this must be a crackpot. She must be a crazy lady. She must be stalking me. So something is wrong with this lady that she has left this note, how she came upon me, And I did put in there that the name on the water bottle was Wellsprings. And so I gave her the truth of how I came upon her. So that Monday, I'm like, okay, if she calls, she don't. Okay, then I must be a crazy somebody. And I didn't talk all this up in my head. But how could I talk all this up in my head when I turn on the right road? The people have confirmed that there's a church called Wellspring and that there is a Caucasian woman who is the pastor. All this before I even knew this. Don't know anybody in Williamsburg, Virginia. So now I get a call around 9:30. The phone rings in the hotel room, and it's her. And she said, I received your note. She said, if you can come in an hour or so, I would be happy to talk with you. So I'm like on the phone, like, okay. So I said, she didn't mention the crazy stuff in the note, but okay. I don't know. Maybe she still may have the cops waiting for me or somebody to carry me away in the paddy wagon. I don't know. But okay, let's go there. So I said, sure, I could be there in an hour. So I got myself together and I said, I might as well check out because from there, I'm going to go back home. Get there. She is so just a wonderful person. And the thing about it was that she was like, I said, well, you read the whole note. She was like, oh, yes. She said, oh, I believe you were led here. She said, and I'm okay. I don't think you're crazy. And she said, well, I'm from the DMV area. I actually used to live in Fairfax, Virginia. And she said, and my daughter has gone to college down in this area. And so we kind of relocated for that. And she said, and I had never wanted to be a pastor of any church, she said, but, I was led. And she said, and I accepted the call and here I am. And I think she said at that time she had been there for about 10 years or something because she had like 3 daughters. And so the second one, I think, was in college now, down in that area. So I told her the date of the conference and what I have been, how, I repeated the story, how I've been led to her with the bottle of the water, artesian Wellspring. They told me that there was the church named Wellspring. the lady at the church on the corner confirmed it. She also confirmed, that you were a woman. And she said, and a white woman. I said, yes. She confirmed that. And she kind of looked at me, and I'm thinking that the lady kind of looked at me when she said, you do know, because like, okay, we're a Black church, but you do know that's what that church is. So I was like, okay, yes. So she was like, okay, well, actually, the church that you went to first, she said, we have a great relationship. We do things together at least 3 or 4 times a year. She said, so I am certain that I can ask the pastor to have the choir to come to your conference and render service and, whatever else they can do. I'm more than certain they would, sis. And she said, now during that weekend, I actually have something to do with my daughters. And I will be going to, I think one of the daughters was at William and Mary, the third daughter or something. So she was going to be doing something there and then going back to the DMV area. She said, but I have 2 associate ministers that I would send to support you. So she said, and I'm going to get right on the phone and talk to the pastor, and you'll be in touch with him, and he will have his choir there and his musicians. So I'm like, okay. So it worked out. I mean, to this day, I still am in awe how all of that, just being obedient, even though there were times that I truly doubted, this is a little bit too much, like really. I knew Williamsburg, felt like I was going into a foreign land because I didn't know anyone down there. And then too, advertising it, they also help advertise down there. And there were several women from our area that came down there. But the thing was that I was just blown away how I knew that I knew whose voice it was, because you kind of doubt though. But when it pans out like that, there's no question anymore. There was no question anymore. And so not only that, the other thing was the preacher that I was led to ask to come minister. A little birdie, after I talked to him and got it down, and this is the contract, this is what his fee is, blah, 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 where he'll be flying out at to and coming into and blah, blah, blah. Well, someone comes to tell me, he said that he's actually not going to be speaking there. And I'm like, oh, okay. Nobody told me that. So I'm like, okay, now this is like maybe 3 months prior to the actual conference. Oh, it might have been shorter than that. It might have been 2 months prior. So I'm like, okay, where did this come from? So now I'm like, okay, what do I do now? And his aunt called me and was like, look, yes, he said it. I was there. Just pray. So that's what I did. I called the prayer warriors too, and I began to pray because I'm like, hey, look now, we didn't come this far. The people that are supporting me, it all started from a water bottle. And so I know that I was told this is the person who's supposed to minister. So now, what is this? So I didn't call him. He didn't call me. After I got up off my knees, the very next day, he called and said, I need you to come to this church and this church, this church. He gave me his schedule. He said, so I can help promote this conference. And I wanted to say, but didn't you say? I said, oh, okay, sure. Then his aunt called and said, I don't know what happened between yesterday and today, but it's like he is pushed to help promote this. And she said, and I know that he said that he wasn't going to do it. And I was like, well, prayer changes things. But the bottom line is when the Spirit leads, do not hesitate. Just continue to move forward. A lot of times we start doubting and we wonder, who's really talking? But he said, my sheep will know my voice. And as time goes on, you will know that you know that you know. and sometimes it will blow your mind how things are falling into place, and how and where you're being led, and what you're being led to do, and how it's evolving. Never would I have thought that I would have been directed to look at a water bottle and the word wellspring, pull the word wellspring out as the name of a church that was going to assist me. And then to go and it took some boldness to actually go into one church to say, do you know of a church with the name Wellspring in it? And then for her to say, oh, yes, you're on the right road. And again, that was just confirmation. You're on the right road. So don't be fearful. Try with all your heart to continuously pray, even when you feel you being led, or even when you feel you being misled. Just pray and ask, is this you? Is this you, God? Because we can doubt sometimes, and doubt us out of where we need to go and what we need to do. But I'm telling you, even when there was that opposition of someone flipping on me, and I'm like, okay, God, I know that I know that I know. I mean, we done came this far, and how you led me from the water bottle to the Caucasian pastor, and how the choir came, was excellent. The musicians came, that pastor came, and then her two associates came, and they were white women, and they sat on the front row, and they had a wonderful time. A lot of people said that it changed their life, and it definitely changed mine. It just drew me closer and gave me more confidence in knowing whose voice I'm hearing, and that I will continuously be led by the Spirit. And so, like I said, even when I could have really went into this season of doubting, when the speaker said, oh, I'm not coming. But then when I saw the very next day after going in prayer that flipped, it's like, okay, hey, I surrender. I surrender. You got this, God. And we're just being used. And when you're saying, I'm the maidservant, be it unto me what thou hast said. I mean, again, just understand your calling, and don't think you're so special. It's just that a willing soul, an open heart, an open spirit to be obedient. That's what it's about. And so I just want to encourage you, when the Spirit speaks, just really know that you know that you know. And there will be that knowing. I can't fully explain it, but there will be a knowing, that even when that little spark of doubt may come out, it'll just override it, and even when it just seems too crazy to believe, because it was kind of crazy, even me telling it. I mean, I'm like, some people probably think, okay, see, yeah, you're crazy. But I have many witnesses who know that that's how it all unfolded, and the conference happened. But that's the birth of that conference. So I just want to share that. That's one of the times when the Spirit speaks. And like I said, there are times that I have dreams. There were times that I have written out letters to people, and I don't fully know everything that I've written, but I've given it to them, and they're like, there's things in there that you would not have known. I never shared that with you. No one has shared that with you, because I've never shared it with anyone. So I'm just saying, those gifts come, and you don't want to manipulate people with it. Like I said, I don't think I'm special above anybody having it, because sometimes I feel this. I don't know if it's a gift, or if it's curse people say, because a lot of times I may say something to someone and it happens, and then they go do 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 do. No, it's not Twilight Zone. And a lot of times I'm even struggling to even come forth with it, because I'm saying, is this me, or what are they going to say if I, share this with them? But then, I get past that. And even the last thing, the red and blue video that I did about this whole thing, I, was like, oh my, how do I get into this mix? But, I was led to do it and it came true. So what we know that we know that we know, we just got to flow with it. And that's just my encouragement for this evening. Next week, I will start back with the panels, and I will have some of my regular panel guests, and we'll just be talking about certain topics on the Purple Couch. So the Purple Couch will come back. I needed to just take a moment to kind of get myself back. I kind of took off this week, from Palm Sunday leading up to Easter, so I could be resurrected, because I had got off course with this quarantine pounds and everything. So I just needed to, dial down as far as not doing too much. I was still on Facebook posting and things like that, but as far as actually streaming, doing lives, I just kind of put that on pause so that, I can come back with what I being led to come back with. So I just hope that this was encouragement to any of those who are doubting what they're hearing, that you can press forward, move forward, flow in it. Don't be ashamed. Who cares what other people say and think? Because at one point, and sometimes I still may be like, oh, they want to think I'm in that case. And I even remember, a couple of times I've told people, some of my gentleman friends, things, and they was like, you jinxed me. How did I jinx you? Because I just told you something and happened. I'm not trying to jinx you. I was like kind of forewarning you, but okay. So and I'll tell you some of those as well. So it's just so much to share, but I just wanted you to know, when the Spirit speaks, listen, be obedient, move forward, cast away doubt and fear, and do what you have been called to do. Again, your calling, you have been called, and it wasn't a conference call. So who cares what anyone else thinks or believes? Because it will be revealed when it comes forth. When it happens, then you're not a false whatever, So, and that has always been my concern, because I'm like, I don't want to be saying I'm led by the Spirit, and what it doesn't manifest. I don't want to be telling anybody something and then no. So that has always been my fear. But as you grow and as you continue to seek the face and ask God to be ever present, then you will kind of just know that you know that you know. And you just got to move forward with it. So that's all I wanted to share tonight. I didn't want to go over 30 minutes, and we're at 29 minutes and 20 seconds. So the next time when the Spirit speaks, I'll be sharing another time that I move forward with something and how I just was in amazement. So you be blessed this evening and have a great night and a peaceful and wonderful sleep.